2027 is make or break.
For the country.
For this country, I feel. That is my view. Yes, especially for what the young people can do to change an election. So wherever these young people decide to put their vote by then, because like I told you, 2 years is a long time, that once, you see, the way the system operates is that they learn. Just like AI, yes, they learn your patterns, your language, what your interests are, how you behave, how you respond to danger, how you respond to threats, how you marshal up, how you retreat, what makes you retreat. Yeah. All those things they learn. They learn the system. They learn you, and then they store it as information as now your modus operandi and your standard operating procedure, so that by the time, and especially if now they succeed, because now all this is a test. All these are theories that are going to be affected at the ballot. So if at the ballot, the test comes out positive for them, then so there was a protest, millions of people came out, people died, this happened and all this, and we still won. I guess we have this thing figured out.
We got it.
Yes, or there was a protest and this thing happened, and these things, and now we've lost. You should have paid more attention to these people. So that's why I'm saying it's make or break.
It's make or break.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I'm wondering is, if we Gen Zs don't understand the mountain narrative, how are you going to engage us and find a way to position yourself or position these politics beyond one term and beyond the defense of Mulima? And by the way, I'm not embarrassed to be Kikuyu. I'm from Kirinyaga and Nyeri. You can't get Kikuyu than that. I'm very Kikuyu, but we have, but that's just the truth. How are you going to convince us? Because, I'm trying to explain to you the way we see it, right? There is that pride, yes, of being a Kikuyu, but there is also a people who don't see that. And we as Gen Zs are saying we are tribeless and we are fearless. And the politics being done now is the way it was done 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and that is what is really scaring us, because if we divide ourselves, if you say you're coming to the defense of Mulima, then there's someone in, Rift Valley or Western who will also say they are going to that defense. And then there will be another group, in, Coast, we are going to that defense. And then now, there will be a vacuum gap.
You should actually ask yourself, how have we been reduced to discuss legacy politicians as if they are the future? At what point did they capture the spirit of the Kenyan people that was leading a revolution last year? When the young people came out to demonstrate, it was on an issue. They defined the issue to be the economy, and they were united across the divide. There was no space for legacy politicians in that conversation. In fact, they were boldly saying, keep off, leave this one to us. This is our fight now. But now all of a sudden you'll think that it is a legacy politician-driven process towards the new Kenya, the future. It's not. These guys were all cancelled. So what I see in them is just a group that is threatened. And they want to maintain their positions in power. So they are regrouping. They decide to mutate into one side is 2 term, one side is 1 term. But they're all the same. Because last year when, for example, when the issue was the economy, it was very clear, a very clear divide that this is an issue that we are agitating over and it unites all Kenyans. If you don't want it, you take one side. If you want to improve our economy, take the side of the people. But today we are told these are the two formations of united opposition, CG government side, Kenya 2 term. But underlying these formations, what is there? If not personalities. That is why Gideon, for example, will casually walk from the opposition into government, and they continue. Gachagua will be removed from government and walk into the opposition, and they continue. It's not about the Kenyan people. It's not about an issue. It's about these legacy politicians. And we must reject this kind of politics.
You're saying that it's about people and their selfish motive.
Yeah, it's purely selfish motives. There's nothing. What has changed, for example? Since the times when William Ruto was bad, overnight, what has changed? The quality of life has continued to deteriorate. It's more painful to live in this country than it was last year. You are spending more in terms of your disposable income, you are spending more to live than earning. Your earning has shrunk, it has not increased. You are spending more on healthcare than you are spending last year. So what has improved? And there is no promise that tomorrow is going to be any better based on their policies. Tomorrow is just even a promise of more pain. So the only thing that may have improved is now individuals, certain individuals, their per capita, their income, their own selfish earnings. So maybe they've increased in terms of how much money they're going to make out of government. That's the motivation. But that is to the individual, not to the Kenyan people.
So Willis, I hear you say this all is to retain power, not really to serve people. Because if we go back to the campaign period, there was a clear divide, hustlers versus dynasties. And if you look at the formation right now, especially what President Ruto has done, look at Raila Odinga broad-based government. Uhuru Kenyatta, he says, I met with Uhuru Kenyatta, we had this discussion, and we even saw them bromance along State House. You look at Gideon Moi now joining Kenya Kwanza, UDA. Is it for them to just retain power as legacy politicians as they have been and not interested in serving the people?
If they were interested in serving the people, look at the sum total of these legacy politicians' time in government or in public space. What's the sum total of it? A failed economy. Between William Ruto, Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Odinga, Gideon Moi, Kalonzo Musyoka, Rigathi Gachagua, Moses Wetangula, Mudavadi, add all of them. Between them, they have not less than 200 years experience in government. Cumulatively, all the years, if you add each of them, the number of years they've spent in government, not less than 200 years. And the sum total of it today is a healthcare system that has collapsed. An education system that has collapsed. You have a high cost of living. Kenyans are not able to participate in this economy, majority of them. That's the sum total of their work. So if in 200 years they have not been able to serve the Kenyan people, now you think in the next 5 years they will serve you. What they could do in 200 with their 200 years of experience.
Well, it's not even in the next 5 years. Because if you listen to what the president said on Saturday and what he said yesterday, and I want us to just flesh this out. He talked about the country, the unity now, that Raila is in the broad-based government and now Gideon Moi is also joining. He said that he's engaging all leaders because three things. He said this is a project, number one. And number two, he said this is a program. And number three, he said this is a vision that requires each one of us. And just to extend this, he said his administration has a clear roadmap to transform Kenya from a developing to a first world nation, and the reference, of course, is Singapore and South Korea, within the next 30 years. So this is not a 2-year or a 3-year plan. He said there's a plan and a roadmap, a clear one, to move this country to a first world nation within the next 30 years. Emphasizing that the country has already made significant strides over the past 3 years. And listening to him on Saturday, he made reference to, the founding father, all the way to former late President Daniel Moi, talking about healthcare, education, and so many other things, and improving on it. So it looks like there's a 30-year-old plan.
So they have a 30-year-old plan for them to economically empower themselves. That's a 30-year-old plan. The Kenyan people are not in that plan. Because if they were, the policies that they're coming up with, you'll be seeing the impact. The manner in which they are governing, you'll be seeing a difference. But if the same person is superintending over an administration that pays a mud thatched house in Mandera 20 million Kenya shillings in shift share, yet Mandera Provincial Hospital, Sub-County Hospital, is getting a pitiable sum. And yet that same Mandera Sub-County Hospital is the one that's responsible to attend to many other Kenyans, to more Kenyans than that funny thing they were paying that much money. So the design of the governance structure that they have itself is telling you they are not on any 30-year plan to make Kenya great. They are on a 30-year plan to make themselves individually great. These are all just philanderers. They are purveying, they are stealing from the Kenyan people, and they have no iota of intent to improve the lives of the Kenyan people. And I do believe where I sit as Safina Party that we even waste a lot of time discussing them. At what point did we lose it? In fact, I've been struggling with this over the weekend. At what point did we lose it that last year the conversation was about the economy and there was no politician showing us a face as the leader? But then all of a sudden, it seems that the politicians are trying to force Kenyans into a discussion about them. So look at it. The united opposition comes up with 1 term. Ruto responds by saying 2 term. Right? So now the conversation is reduced to 1 term or 2 term. Correct. But the issue about Mwananchi is lost. Number 2, they say we're united opposition. He goes to get Raila Odinga. He goes to get Gideon Moi. Now, we are also uniting Kenyans. So what is unity? Were we divided? If anything, before this united opposition, before this united Ruto thing, we were united already on the economy as the issue. So what they've done is they've divided us by creating artificial differences. That you are 1 term, you are 2 term. You are united opposition, whereas we are united government. What happened to your issue? It's diluted, it's lost.
My dear Kenyans, we are at a turning point in our history. And I call upon you all to participate with I and we in Safina in taking Kenya through the next phase of our liberation called economic liberation. I plead with you to seize this moment, to look at every single leader that comes before you attempting to take your vote, to articulate to you the issues of your life, the issues of the day in Kenya. This is a moment for you to change history. It is our moment as a country. It was started by Genz, and we must complete this journey of liberating Kenya from the shackles of what was created in 1920 by the colonialist. You must arm yourself with that voter's card. You must participate in an election that answers your question when you X the box. It must be you you're voting for, not Jimmy, not whoever else. It is you yourself you're voting for. Your question must be answered when you're Xing that box. And that question can only be the next phase of our liberation, which is the economic. Join us in that liberation.
Mido nacheza mdhamini si nakaona dai moshi tazivuta vuta limit ya fuliza imeongezeka nikoma neza shika jag na kanudu sie nacheza kiroro neza fika soko turirime mdagi meditation naki shusha kibandaski cha podonde neza rada nama vuta izoma